This setting takes place around the year 2033. Humanity ended up exhausting the Earth's resources, and important species to sustain life were extinguished. The human race was on the brink of collapse, and, in their desperation, they resorted to prayer. And fortunately, their pleas were heard. An angel sent by the Lord appeared to help the mankind, and the way in which humanity thanked him was by betraying him, trapping him inside an evil device called the Angel Engine. It would drain the divine energy of the messenger and use it to solve the problems of humanity, and thus civilization returned to normal. All the problems were solved, and all of this at the cost of the suffering of the angel. This angel would later be revealed to us to be Uriel, who, in the Judeo-Christian mythos, is one of the 7 archangels, and his name means Light of God or God is my light, and he is sometimes considered to be the angel of wisdom and an emissary of God before different prophets. It is sometimes said that he was the one in charge of warning Noah about the flood that would raise the earth. The messenger's prison was located somewhere in the Negev desert, inside a valley of thorns, guarded by raiders called the Forgotten. Here was where humanity decided to build the nicknamed Second Tower of Babel. Obviously, many people did not agree with the project. They saw it as immoral and foolish to betray an emissary of the creator and use him as a battery to fix humanity's problems, but others argue that if an angel even had human rights. For those who are not familiar with the story of the Tower of Babel, it is a biblical legend that speaks of the fall of Babylon. The Babylonians tried to build an absurdly tall tower with intention of reaching God, and, in retaliation, God took down the tower and made the people working on it unable to understand each other. This is, of course, the biblical explanation of why languages exist, but this is a story that also talks about pride and vanity, how to believe oneself capable of reaching God, of touching divinity. Such foolishness was punished by the creator, and this so-called Second Tower of Babel was used to lock up one of God's emissaries, one of the most important, that one being Uriel. This couldn't be classified as anything but an act of unbridled hubris. The head of this project was Dr. Geoff Ernstmann, who demonstrated that by having Uriel in the engine, he could solve not just humanity's energetic problems, but also extract miracles, to put it in some way. Demonstrating this was a worker from the tower. He suffered a work accident. His body was clinically dead, if it wasn't already cleared by his appearance. And when he was connected to the Angel Engine, the activation of the machine caused Uriel a lot of pain. But upon completing the process, the worker's corpse returned to life. But of course, not all experiments with this device were successful. Facing the world's crisis for resources, the construction of the Tower of Babel saw several phases and faced various complications. In one stage of development, human subjects were used for testing on the engine. This is the reason why Dr. Ernstmann's organization offered copious amounts of money to desperate volunteers in order to make tests on the second tower, with the subject usually being turned into an amorphous mass of flesh with little semblance of humanity. If I have to take a wild guess of what exactly the engine does, I would say that it is using the energy of the angel's soul to perform those miracles. Maybe human souls also have the same capacity, but being mortal, their energy is limited. Therefore, the angelic engine can use Uriel's powers indefinitely. But who decided to give humans the idea of using the angel as a fuel? Or who conceived the plans to create such an atrocity? It is none other than the so-called false prophet, the Antichrist as he is commonly known. When seeing the desperation in which humanity was plunged, he took the opportunity to get rid of Uriel and guide the species down the wrong path. And just as in the Mandela Catalog, the Antichrist disguises himself as a real angel to corrupt humanity. In fact, in the Christian mythos, there are certain references to a third coming of the Antichrist as a charismatic leader who would lead humanity down the dark path. This is how he convinced mankind to create the Second Tower of Babel, in such a remote place not only because of its importance as it is located in the Negev desert in Israel, but to keep an eye on intruders who try to free Uriel. Eventually, the entity continues with a role within the mythos, leading humans to a greater conflict. Since the energy problems were solved, humanity now has the means to kill each other. For those who do not know, in the Christian tradition, the Antichrist is a prophetic figure who, and I quote, represents an antagonic force to Christ as a kind of evil prophet, if you wanna say it that way. His role is to corrupt the teachings of the Gospels and to deny the divinity of Jesus, promoting a false vision of salvation. If we want to get into the specifics, the traditional Bible doesn't really talk about the Antichrist as such, but as a spirit or principle that opposes Jesus and his message, becoming those who deny Jesus and the Messiah. This is usually throughout the work of the devil, in this case being Lucifer. So, broadly speaking, if we go to the myth, the Antichrist is an avatar of Lucifer, who is still very pissed off after the rebellion. In popular culture, the Antichrist is often given more powers than he actually has. All of this brings humanity to the brink of chaos, and at some point in the future, Uriel manages to break free. But instead of being resentful towards humanity and wanting to take revenge, he still tries to help us, and with his divine powers, he sends a message into the past, manifesting himself as this gaunt and disgusting face, but in fact, he's trying to warn us of a greater danger, warning us of the coming of the Antichrist. Okay, but who exactly is this doctor who took advice of the Antichrist? Who is this Ernstmann? Luckily, we have a little more information about him, from a magazine article that reveals much more about his persona. The Dr. Ernstmann first burst onto the scene of the scientific community in his early 20s, when he became the youngest ever recipient of a Nobel Prize in chemistry. At the age of 25, it seemed he was destined to be one of the scientific world's brightest stars, claiming, "I'm here to bring this world into the future." Nonetheless, many of the greatest minds of this planet looked in awe, believing every word the young man had uttered. But soon, the spotlight which had been shone into the young star grew dimmer, as Ernstmann found himself unable to reconnect on his previous success. And, just like that, the man who was once considered to be the future of science was swallowed into total obscurity. It was only this year, almost 2 decades after first winning the Nobel Prize, that the genius doctor re-emerged from the limbo of scientific importance and reminded us of the promise he made all those years ago. Ernstmann has returned, and this time with an invention he describes as the most important in the history of mankind, a miracle machine that seemingly turns every wish into reality. However, not everything was as it seemed, and the newfound success came not without its fair share of negative repercussions. Once it was revealed that the Angel Engine, as the doctor had dubbed it, was using a real sentient angel caged within the machine, many began to criticize the project. Some began raising moral and ethical questions, while others started discrediting the doctor's work, stating the angel would be the only reason for his success. In a recent news update on the project's official website, Ernstmann spoke out about the criticism, seemingly hinting at a new invention that will silence all of his namesayers. As word spreads that Dr. Ernstmann has agreed to an exclusive interview, we can only hope that more information will be revealed soon. During this interview, the doctor also revealed that the angel was more powerful than they believed, that if he wanted it, he could break free from the engine at any moment. The angel was trapped voluntarily, or at least that's what the doctor stated. Unfortunately, before he could show off his new invention, Dr. Ernstmann suffered an attempt on his life. Dr. Ernstmann, a renowned scientist and leading mind behind the Angel Engine initiative, was attacked by an assailant in the early hours of March 26, in front of Solomon Hall, where his new invention was scheduled to be revealed mere hours later. Reports suggest that the assailant used a homemade firearm, striking Ernstmann twice in the abdomen and once in the face. Ernstmann was rushed to the local St. Mary's Hospital, where an emergency surgery was undertaken. His current condition remains unknown. The assailant, later identified as 32-year-old Jensen Goldstein, was caught by local police forces about 5 blocks from the scene. Following widespread media reports, many of Ernstmann's colleagues voiced their support of the former Nobel Prize recipient. "I am beyond speechless," said Dr. Louis Marcus of CERN. Now that sounds awfully similar to NERV. You know, the agency in charge of the Evas in Evangelion. Anyways, Geoff remains one of the brightest minds on this planet, and attempting to deem such a brilliant man, all because you disagree with his ethics? It goes to show how far we have fallen as society. With Ernstmann's fate hanging in the balance and the Angel Engine cloaked in secrecy, the world finds itself at a crossroads. The line between miracle and monstrosity has never been thinner, and as the dust settles in Beersheba, a single question echoes louder than the gunfire: what price are we willing to pay for wonder? And unfortunately, in these cliffhangers, that's all there is for the Angel Engine. I'll be leaving the author's profile in the description down below, if you want to support the creator of the series, and as some of you may have already noticed, yes, the author uses artificial intelligence, but I consider that in this case, the AI is nothing more than a tool for those who lack the resources to properly tell their story. And surely, with some support or recognition, this could help the creator to improve the quality of the series. But anyways, that's all there is for today. If you liked the video, remember to hit the like button and subscribe, that really helps me and the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.